Okay, so I just came up with this video idea while I was out working, and that's safety anxiety. I tend to find that I seem to worry about things a lot more than most people. For example, whenever I see someone with a baby, all I can think of is, whoops. But anyway, more seriously, I definitely seem to have a lot more anxiety and fear in general about just about everything than most people because okay, so when it comes to what I just witness out when I'm riding about, there are so many pedestrians who just walk across the road without even looking. I mean, sure, you can use your own judgment to cross the road when you feel it's safe, and the lights don't really do much to inform you when. In fact, they often keep you waiting longer than necessary, but at least look. It's like I was a child when I was told to look both ways before crossing the road, and so many people seem to have forgot that. And yeah. I probably would have normally had some notes, but I've just had these things going through my head about what I was going to say when I got here. So like I said before about how I've experienced severe anxiety whenever I see things like buzz saws or drills or woodworking equipment. And I just always it always goes through my head, the gory thought of someone losing a limb or a finger or gore going everywhere. And it's the same when I'm out about riding around or walking. I always watch where I'm going. And there were other bike riders that I see that are doing the same job as me. And they do this thing where, I'll see if I can demonstrate. I've got a special thing on my bike. This is my casual phone. This is my work phone. And it attaches to my bike like that. So that when I'm using the GPS to find where I'm going, I only have to look down there and I don't have to take my hands off the handlebars. But I see all these... Gotta remember to edit that out. When I see all these bike riders out there, they're doing it like this. And I mean, how dangerous is that? I have injured myself before by falling off this bike because I try to brake with one hand. The one time I did do it, I did have this equipment here, and I braked while doing this, and I lost my balance and I fell off, and couldn't work for a week because I'd sprained my wrist. So like, why doesn't anyone else have this safety anxiety? There was this one time when my mum was chopping wood off for firewood, and as she was chopping away, I could see all these shards of wood just going everywhere. And I was like turning my head and like, shouldn't you be wearing sunglasses or something to protect your eyes? And just as I said that, I felt a shard go. And it's like, so clearly my fear and anxiety of all this stuff isn't irrational, because just about every time it nearly happens, or it does, but luckily it's just a speck of dust that flushed out of my eye. And there was another time when my former friends, who haven't been friends for a long time, in fact, one of the main reasons that stopped them from being my friend was becoming a brony. Ha ha ha. But then I gained a lot more friends. But then I lost them again, as you know. Anyway, they were playing with these, well, they were just sort of like sticks with sharp ends. They were sort of manufactured sticks. They weren't like off a tree or anything. And they were like playing swords with it right in front of my face. And they thought it was funny. You know, they were going, playing swords right in front of my face. And I actually felt one of the points go. And then that was one of the few times I've ever, expressed anger. And I said, "Hey, that almost went in my eye. Are you crazy?" And so yeah. And I've got this, you'll notice my two pinkies. They're not quite the same. I broke one of them just doing Taekwondo in a sparring match. So, is it a good thing that I have this problem? I mean, it pretty much convinces me that I can never drive. Yet I can ride a bike. But, I mean, I have had a lot of practice and I'm good at it now. I've been at this job for 1.5 years. I've done 609 as of today deliveries. So yeah, I've had a lot of practice. I guess I could probably drive a car eventually with practice, but the barrier of entry is insane, you know. Not worth it. Absolutely not worth it, especially if it will encourage someone giving me an evil corporate job anyway. And that's probably something I didn't go into full detail on in my last video, where I was talking about the corporate greed and all that. As much as I hate the company that I work for because of their corporate greed, the good thing is that at least I personally don't have to do anything ethically evil or challenging or questionable. I just pick up the order and take it to the customer. But I have been hearing rumours about people that delivery cyclists that okay, so I've heard rumours that delivery cyclists sample the food. And I was like, okay, that's probably just a rumour, exaggeration. Maybe it happens in other countries where, you know, I guess people are starving. But despite the fact that I've even done this while starving, I have never, ever sampled a customer's food. Even if all I've gotten to eat before I go out is some butter on toast. It's just the way it is. I will never cross that line. But then, I think it was last week, something happened that really got my blood boiling, and it was that I saw a fellow delivery cyclist pick up an order right before me, and I had to wait for mine, so I was just watching him, and he went to his car and he put the bag down and he ate a chip, and I felt really angry. I considered going up to his car and telling him, "You realise it's people like you that give us a bad name, right? considered just wanting to confront him and make him feel bad about himself. But I didn't. And I think that's another one of my problems, is that I'm too much of a scaredy cat because of the advice that I got from that psychologist when I was bullied as a child, to never ever enter into any conflict under any circumstances whatsoever, because I'll get my ass kicked. You know, I've just been noticing it more and more lately, like, they say that people on my job, they want us to have driver's licenses even if we only cycle, because they want us to know the road rules, because bikes are often required to use the road. However, I have taken my learner's permit twice and then not gone through with actually driving the car. So I know the rules. However, most drivers don't, because they took their learner's permit test 30 years ago, and I don't know if they are required to, you know, resit it every now and then or whatever, but the fact is that they are they don't know what they're doing. It happens so often. I see it all the time. On my way home after my last delivery today, I saw the green pedestrian man, so I went ahead, which was a dumb idea, because I am in the habit of looking both ways before crossing the road, even when the man is green. And because I guess I was like winding down, I stopped. My anxiety had gone down because I was excited about getting home and doing this. A car that was about to head straight, but then suddenly changed its mind and turned its indicator in my direction at the last moment, went before me, almost hit me. I had to stop. I had to physically put my brakes on, or he would have hit me. He wasn't looking where he was going, and the man was green, so his light would have been red. So yeah, that was a nice little rant. So my point is, I think it's time that I started standing up for myself and stopped being such a meek little pussy. I should have approached that delivery cyclist, and I should have shouted at those guys because their window was open. I should have shouted, "It's my turn to cross, you idiot." I think that's one of the things I've got to change about myself. I'm too much of a coward. I am terrified of conflict, and I'm especially terrified of conflict when I'm drunk, ironically enough. Because, well, you know, it's a constant pattern. I go down to the bottle store, drunk, and I want more of a fix because I can't stand the thought of going through withdrawal, so I want to put it off. And I get in there and get out almost every single time without them even, without them questioning whether I'm already drunk or not, because I'm able to, at least temporarily, because I know the consequences that if I am emotional or stumble around, I am going to, they're going to know that I'm already drunk and they won't sell to me. Whereas I see all these other people that lose control over so much less. I mean, I've built up an insane tolerance. And then I see these guys that have had 2 or 3 beers walk in and start cursing at the person at the register of the bottle-o. And it's like, how about you at least pretend to be calm so that you can get away with buying booze while you're drunk? Just a suggestion. So yeah. And there's ambulances outside. Feels good to not be worried that one of my neighbours might have called them on me. Unless they find the fact that I'm finally expressing myself in my apartment. Probably makes them think I'm drunk. Well, anyway, that's it for this vlog. See ya.